students here who maybe lean conservative. They may not be really political, but they lean conservative. But at the same time, I mean, there are a lot of more liberal voices on campus to compete with. I think in general, college students are caring about the same types of issues that most other, cross sections of America are caring about. Of course, like education is a concern. Affordable tuition rates and things like that are always going to be an issue.
Tax cuts actually generate more money for people to spend in the economy, which then brings in more taxes through sales taxes and other such things. So the tax cuts will be generating a lot more revenue to cover some of the president's programs. And yeah, I'll be the first one to admit that the president has been spending like a drunken sailor. He has. But we also have to consider what's happened since he was elected. We have a war on terrorism here. We have a conflict that is possibly the greatest of our times, and we need to fight it. And so we need to consider that when looking at any spending and saying that, yes, well, the world is a different place now than it was before Bush got elected.
Both sides will clearly admit that September 11th defined George Bush's presidency. It was the most shocking thing to happen since Pearl Harbor, an attack on our own soil. Afterwards, the entire world was with us, everyone, and the entire country was behind George Bush. How have we gone from that to where we find ourselves today? A bitterly divided electorate, one of the most negative campaigns we've ever seen in our life. There's a reason that we're like that. President Bush took the emotional mandate that he had from countries all over the world and from the people here, and he used it to put forth a right-wing agenda. Tax cuts, all the gay marriage stuff, all that type of stuff was pushed, and that has divided people. And that's a real problem, because as John said, you have to unite as a country after this election, no matter who wins. We have to work together, and we have to realize that the kind of campaign that we've seen in the past several months is not good for America. It's often thrown as a criticism of John Kerry that he has nuanced positions, or that he sees both sides of things. He sees complexities in the world. Unfortunately, that's what grown-ups need to do, especially people who are president of the United States.
I am not a John Kerry internationalist. John Kerry said, 30 years ago that he would not want to see United States troops deployed anywhere in the world unless it was at the directive of the United Nations. I do not believe that. And in a similar vein, his whole global test comment was really disturbing, I think, to a lot of people. You wonder what it takes for something to pass John Kerry's global test.
The last 4 years have demonstrated to me rather convincingly that Mr. Bush doesn't particularly care for many of the strictures of democratic government. His vision of the people's role in governing is borderline disdain. And so I know over the last 4 years have definitely, my eyes are wide open. When you start refuting evidence and you start sort of reviling fact, I mean, there's just a sort of hatred for factual evidence right now that troubles me. When presented with fact, we replace it with emotion. And that's a bad way to make policy. It's a bad way to make law, a bad way to run your country. All I know is I have lots and lots and lots of friends, most of them Democratic, because I'm a college professor, but most of them say, I didn't vote last time, but I'm damn sure going to vote this time. And I'm not sure that's the case on the right. I don't feel the groundswell that I feel on the Democratic side, which I really haven't felt for years, on the Democratic side of people joining or just sort of reawakening. That's my optimism, I guess. The realism says, I don't know. And nobody does. Anybody who reports to, in fact, when I watch TV and I see people purport to know who's going to win, I just think it absolutely makes public fools of them. Because they don't know any more than we know.
Today is Friday, October the 29th. And if nothing dramatic happens between now and when the polls close Tuesday, George Bush will be reelected. There are a great many indicators that have been used in the past to predict these elections that point toward the president. A lot of them have to do with the economy. The economy is improving. The people's sort of satisfaction with how things are is high enough. His approval ratings are right around 50%. No president has ever had an approval rating below 50% and has been reelected, but he's right at that.
Also, I mean, the Bush administration, since 9/11, has used fear to really drive the country. I mean, Tom Ridge and his orange, yellow, purple, blue alerts, like, at this point, it's hard to even keep track of what alert status we're in or whether we need duct tape or plastic for our windows. But when you have people that feel that threatened and feel constantly like they might be attacked and there might be a sleeper cell around the corner, they're going to look to Bush as the guy that keeps them safe. And I think that's completely intentional on his part, that I will keep you safe. But you're not safe. You're safer, but you're not yet safe, so you still need me.
This should never, ever be taken for granted, this amazing system that we have. And it's got warts. I mean, my goodness. I mean, there are going to be serious problems someplace in the United States Tuesday about the election, and people will raise a stink about it. But let's fix it. But sure, I think people take it for granted, but it's a fabulous system, and it works. I mean, it's creaky and smelly sometimes, but it works, and it's, look where we are as a country. We're less than 250 years old, and this planet has never seen anything like this, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're just a good old-fashioned democracy, the likes of which has never been seen before, and we've made it work.